For further analysis, we're joined from Cairo by the senior advisor at the European Institute of Peace, Ambassador Hisham Youssef. Ambassador Youssef, welcome to Q News. Sir, how do statements by New York's mayor-elect accusing Israel of genocide affect U.S. domestic politics, and could they shift Washington's posture on Gaza?
Well, we hope that the attitude of Washington and the Trump administration would move in a direction that would be conducive to advancing the prospects of peace. This is the most important element of the future as far as I know.
Your Excellency, Hamas says that Israel breached the ceasefire by removing the yellow demarcation line and advancing west. What verification mechanism can confirm or refute this quickly, and who enforces compliance?
Well, as a matter of fact, Israel has taken a number of steps that are in violation of the ceasefire agreement. One of them is the one you mentioned about changing the yellow line, but there are many others. Israel is still attacking people, or more than 300 people have been killed since the ceasefire started on the 10th of October until today. Humanitarian assistance not entering Gaza. There are still house demolitions in the areas under the control of Israel. And this is being monitored by the center that is led by the United States and is present in Israel and has a number of countries joining in this center. And we were hoping that the United States would, as a result of this monitoring, be more forceful with Israel regarding these violations.
So if the ceasefire is being tested, what immediate diplomatic levers can compel adherence without collapsing the broader framework?
No, unfortunately, I didn't hear the question. Can you repeat it again?
I would repeat it to you, Your Excellency. I was asking you, if the ceasefire is being tested, what immediate diplomatic levers can compel adherence without collapsing the broader framework?
Well, there is a huge role that has to be played by Egypt, Qatar, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and others who have been working to advance the prospects of peace. Saudi Arabia has been working in the context of the Saudi-French initiative. Egypt, Qatar, and Turkey have been working on the mediation for a ceasefire and so on. And a number of countries, 8 countries, met with President Trump in order to see how they can advance the prospects of peace on the margins of the UN General Assembly. And all these countries have responsibilities in order to ensure that the ceasefire is respected and that we do not move in a direction that would result in further escalation and military action.
Your Excellency, now with settler attacks reported in Nablus, Ramallah, Bethlehem, and Hebron, what obligations do states have under international law to prevent and punish such violence? At least prevent such violence.
Well, this violence has been going on for a very long time. And sadly, the international community has not been acting forcefully enough in order to address this situation. There has been some steps, including some sanctions by a number of European countries against major settler extremists, but all the actions that have been taken until now have not been enough in order to put pressure to bear on Israel to stop these attacks by settlers on Palestinian civilians in the West Bank.
The Palestinian Foreign Ministry wants an international peacekeeping force. How feasible is that now, and what mandate and rules of engagement would be required to protect the civilians effectively?
Well, now we have a Security Council resolution that addresses the stabilization force. And this stabilization force has to have a mandate, and the mandate includes Palestinian protection. This is in accordance to the Security Council resolution. So the question now lies in how this will be implemented, whether the U.S. will allow the stabilization force to have a reasonable mandate that would take into account the requirements of protecting Palestinian people and also the requirements of Israel in order for the military process not to return. So this is the challenge that is facing the United States, the mediators, and the international community to ensure that this stabilization force is a force that would advance stability. Now, there have been some successful efforts before in relation to addressing particularly the issue of disarmament of the armed groups, as this is the priority for Israel. And we can benefit from a number of successful stories, whether it was Northern Ireland, Colombia, or otherwise. So I think that this is that should be followed. We hope that this will continue to go through.
Well, that was Ambassador Hisham Youssef joining us from Cairo. He's the senior advisor at the European Institute of Peace. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for joining us here on Q News. And this brings us to the end of our special coverage for tonight. But for more stories and live updates, you can always follow Q News on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok at Q News EG. From all of us here, thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more news and analysis on Q News.